The Kraft Foods Company presents The Great Gildersleeve. It's The Great Gildersleeve, starring Harold Perry, brought to you by the Kraft Foods Company, makers of a complete line of famous quality food products.
Happy New Year. I'm making no resolutions this year. I'm just going to be a bad boy. That's my only resolution. I'm going to be a bad boy.
What a terrible way to start the new year. But before we condemn our hero, let us review the tragic events which have put him in this desperate frame of mind. It all started with Gildersleeve's plans for Summerfield's annual costume ball. When he got his costume, he naturally wanted to tell somebody about it.
Well, I won't actually tell her. That would be against the rules. I'll just let her guess. She'll never guess in a million years. Avast there, me proud beauty. Open the hatch before I blow it in. 15 men on a dead man's chest. Yo-ho, yo-ho, in a bottle of hello, Eve.
Why, Throckmorton.
Got my costume for tomorrow night, Eve. Right here under my arm.
Oh, no, you mustn't tell me what it is, Throckmorton. That would spoil all the fun. No one's supposed to know who anyone is till the time comes for the unmasking.
Well, I wasn't going to tell you, Eve. But wouldn't you like to guess?
Well, come in anyway.
Thanks. Won't take my coat off. I got to be getting right along home. Well, go ahead and guess, Eve.
Oh, I don't think that would be fair, Throckmorton. You might start hinting.
Oh, go on. Guess what I'm going to be.
Humpty Dumpty.
Why do you guess that?
I don't know. He's kind of roly-poly, and you asked me to guess.
Guess again.
Henry VIII?
Well, I get mixed up on those kings. Which one is he?
The fat one. The one with all the wives. You know, he...
Why do you guess only fat people?
I've guessed only two. And you insisted on my guessing, you know.
All right, I'll give you a little help. 15 men...
Oh, no, you don't. Now, be fair, Throckmorton. I want it to be a surprise.
But, Eve, the whole thing's a lot of nonsense. As soon as I call for you tomorrow evening, that'll give the whole thing away. By the way, what time do you want me to call for you?
You were planning to call for me?
Oh, of course.
Oh, I wish I'd known that before.
Well, of course I'm going to call for you if I'm taking you to the ball.
I didn't know you were taking me to the ball. Oh, I'm afraid it's too late now.
What?
You never asked me, Throckmorton. You never did.
Well, gosh, Eve.
I waited, and you never asked me.
Gosh, I took it for granted that you and I...
And I took it for granted since I never heard from you that you'd invited someone else. So I accepted another invitation.
Listen, you sold me the tickets to this thing. I had a right to assume you were going with me.
Well, I sold over 50 tickets, Throckmorton. I couldn't go with all of them.
Nuts. Gosh, if I'd had the slightest idea, Eve. I've got my costume here and everything. You couldn't just...
Not now. I couldn't possibly. I'm sorry. But when you're inviting a lady to something, it's customary to invite her, you know.
I suppose you're going with that gym teacher again.
He was kind enough to invite me. And he's very nice, really. I'm sorry there was a misunderstanding, Throckmorton. I'll save you a dance if you like.
Don't bother.
Oh, now, Throckmorton, don't be a baby.
Who's a baby? I was going to be a pirate, but now I won't be anything. Won't even be there. Hello, Miss Fenwick? How'd you guess? I bet you're surprised to hear from me. Say, do you happen to be doing anything this evening? Oh, you are, Well, I just thought... Oh. Well, I just, Well, same to you, Miss Fenwick. Nuts. What's the matter with this town? New Year's Eve and everybody's going someplace. Oh, well. Leroy, will you tell me what you're doing running around in my long underwear?
That's not underwear. I'm Captain Marvel.
And that bath towel.
That's my cape.
Look here, young man.
You want to see one of my mighty feats of strength? I can make this whole house disintegrate. All I have to do is say, Shazam!
Leroy?
Ooh, I said it. Lucky thing the house didn't hear me.
Calm down, will you? What are you getting dressed up for, anyway? You're not going anyplace.
I know, but everybody else is. Gosh, I want to have some fun.
I'll be here with you, my boy, the whole evening.
That's no fun.
What?
I thought you were going to the ball.
Ball? I'm doing nothing of the kind.
But I thought...
I decided the whole thing was silly. Childish. I didn't want to go in the first place.
Marge is going.
Oh, no, she's not.
She is, too. She's going with Jerry Walsh.
Now, look here. I had this whole thing out 2 days ago.
Don't holler at me. I'm not the one.
Go upstairs and tell your sister to come down here.
Hey, Marge!
Oh.
Come down here!
I said go up and tell her.
She heard me. What do you want? I want you!
I don't know what I have to do to get obedience around here. Marjorie, what's this I hear?
About what?
About your planning to go to the ball this evening with that Walsh boy?
Leroy?
I didn't say anything. I didn't mean to make any trouble, Marge. I just said what you said.
Never mind that. The point is, I told you 2 days ago, my dear, you were not going to that ball.
But, Unky, it's the first thing Jerry's ever invited me to. He's one of the stars of the basketball team. If I turn him down at the last minute, he'll
You
never
could have turned him down 2 days ago. I told you then.
You said you'd think it over. You said you'd see.
I said no. Besides, I've thought it over. The ball is no place for a girl your age. It's apt to turn out to be a very rowdy affair. That's why I'm not going myself.
I think you're mean.
Moreover, I don't want you going around with that Jerry Walsh. From what I hear, he's inclined to be wild. All basketball players are wild. One of the wildest boys I ever knew was a basketball player.
Oh, why don't you let her go?
Listen, who's running this house, you or me?
I didn't know anybody was running it.
You go upstairs.
To bed now?
Well, go away anyway. This is just between your sister and me.
Sorry, Marge.
Go on, Leroy. Disintegrate. Shazam.
Okay. Telephone!
We heard it.
I'll get it. Hello?
Hey, Unc, you want to play me checkers?
Quiet, Leroy. I can't hear.
Not now, Leroy.
Later, huh? Later, will you play me checkers?
Leroy!
We'll see, Leroy.
I'll set up the checkerboard just in case.
Will everybody kindly, for heaven's sake, be quiet? Francie? I can't go. My uncle.
Yes.
I know, and what do I tell Jerry? The first thing he's ever invited me to. I'll be so humiliated I'll just die.
Yes.
My costume? I don't know. Burn it, I guess. What good is it now?
Costume, eh? Didn't know it'd gone as far as that. Well, I can't give in now.
Now, that is not true, Francie. My uncle is really very nice if you know him. It's just about this one thing. He seems to be a little old-fashioned.
You needn't look at me, my dear. You have my decision.
Well, I don't know. He's being so stuffy about everything these days, but I'll ask him. Uncle Mort, if I can't go to the ball, can I at least go over to Francie's and spend the night?
Oh, so Francie's mother wouldn't let her go to the thing either, eh? I told you it was no place for young girls.
Well, may I?
I see no objection as long as you're in bed by a reasonable hour.
Miracles will happen, Francie. He said yes. I'll be right over. What?
Excuse me.
Well, Bertie, you're all dressed up.
Yes, sir.
You look super, Bertie. I wouldn't know you.
Well, thank you, Leroy. You're looking well yourself.
You mean my football helmet?
I don't think he's had that off since Christmas.
Yeah, take it off, Leroy. You want to be bald?
Okay, goodbye, Francie. Be right over.
Mr. Gildersleeve, I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you a happy and prosperous New Year's. Is it all right if I go now?
Yeah, same to you, Bertie, and you go right ahead. By the way, where are you going?
Well, it's starting over to Jack Chase's house. Goodness knows where it'll wind up.
Oh? Well, I suppose that's your idea of a way to have a good time. My idea of the way to spend New Year's Eve is just sitting quietly here by the radio, laying plans for next year.
Well, a man can't break any bones that way. Enjoy yourself, Miss Gildersleeve.
You too, Bertie. Happy New Year.
Hey, aren't you going to play checkers? I've got the board all set up.
Oh, I suppose so. Just when I'm sitting down.
I'll let you have the first move.
Oh? Well, there.
I expected that.
I suppose she's leaving by now with that gym teacher.
Your move, Unc.
Oh? They'll all be there. Eve, Floyd, Evie, Hooker. All of them. Everybody but me.
Yours, Unc.
What's that?
Your move.
Oh. Well.
Ha!
Leroy, it's your bedtime.
You haven't got your mind on the game, Unc.
I'll admit I haven't got my mind on the game, but you go to bed anyway.
Do I have to?
Yes, it's 11:15.
Okay, gosh. Good night, Unc.
Good night, my boy. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. What's happy about it? Marjorie out, Bertie out, Leroy in bed. Well, suppose I could listen to the radio. I've missed date with Judy, though, and Fibber McGee.
Here, all milling about in the street down here below us. As I say, the crowd is milling about in the street here below us, and it is now just about 1 minute to midnight. The crowd waits, milling about in the street here below us for the new year to come in. Let's listen to them for a moment.
Gosh, it's midnight there already. That means it's 11 here. Clock's slow.
Well, it's just about time. It's the moment we've all been waiting for here. So now let's see how they're taking the new year in the dear old South. Taking away Atlanta.
Atlanta? Yeah, Leila could be there.
For your listening pleasure, the music of Manny Copeland and his orchestra coming to you from the glamorous Magnolia room of the Jefferson House. And now, here's a lovely little lady, one of the guests here. Won't you step up to the microphone, honey? Tell the folks what you think of this celebration.
Well, I just think we're all just having just the loveliest time here. And I just love New Year. And I just wish you all could be here because we're just having the loveliest time. I declare I'll take...
And there it is. Happy New Year, folks.
That girl. She sounded just like Leila. She couldn't have been, though. Leila. How many New Year's Eves have I spent with Leila? Oh, lang syne, my dear. Oh, lang syne. We will take a cup of kindness yet. Like fun, we will. Leila, where is she now? Married? To somebody else. And Eve stood me up for a gym teacher. Yeah, that's what you get for being a gentleman. After all the nice things you do for them all year. And the chips are really down when it's New Year's Eve, what do you get? Left at home twiddling your thumbs while they're off cutting up with somebody else. Oh, shut up. Yeah, Happy New Year. I'm making no resolutions this year. I'm just going to be a bad boy. That's my only resolution. I'm going to be a bad boy. And by George, I'm going to that ball, too. If nobody wants to go with me, all right. I'll be a lone wolf. Yes, sir. I'll get into my pirate suit and I'll go down there, and if anybody thinks I'm fooling, she'll find out.
We'll join the great Gildersleeve at the ball in just a minute. Tonight, the folks at Kraft extend their very best wishes for a happy, healthy New Year. They also want to pledge their best efforts to produce for you in 1947 more of those fine Kraft food products that have been so much in demand and often so hard to get these past few years.
That sounds very promising, Mr. Lang. And I hope especially they'll be making more parquet margarine. It's our family's favorite spread for bread, but still a bit scarce, you know.
Well, then, here's some good news. Kraft hopes to produce much more parquet this year. Of course, some of the fine farm products from which parquet is made are still in short supply, but the outlook is a lot brighter. And as more of these wholesome farm products become available, we'll be rushing Parquet margarine to your dealer. Fresh and country sweet in flavor. The same fine quality as always. So look for it in your favorite food store. Look first for the margarine of Kraft quality. Look first for Parquet, P-A-R-K-A-Y, Parquet margarine, made by the Kraft Foods Company.
Pardon me. Pardon me. Hey, look where you're going. Oop. Floor slippery. Better pull for the shore, mate. Join the stag line over by the punch bowl. Pardon me. Pardon me. Well, a fellow pirate. Shiver my timbers and a yo-ho-ho.
Yo-ho-ho yourself.
Peavy, is that you? I never would have known you.
Yeah, it's me, all right.
I'll bet you don't know who I am.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. Happy New Year, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Somebody must have told you. Say, Peavy, I'm looking for the stag line. You know where it is?
Sure, this is it right here.
You mean you're the stag line? Where's Mrs. Peavy?
She's dancing with George Washington. As soon as I can cut him out, we're going home.
George Washington?
Judge Hooker. There they go now. Oh, hello, dear.
Hooker, the old goat, in knee breeches and silk stockings. Well, there's no use standing here moping, Peavy. We're pirates. Let's be pirates. Grab ourselves a couple. Say, how about that lady bareback rider?
I noticed her myself. Interesting costume.
You said it. Come on, let's grab some girls, Peavy.
You grab one. I'll watch.
Huh? Have to wait till the band starts again anyway. Now what?
Ladies and gentlemen, your kind attention, please.
Chief Gates. Is that who it is, Peavy?
That's right. He's the Grand Marshal. Must be going to say something.
Your attention, please. It's been called to my attention that some of the gentlemen have been smoking here in the auditorium. Smoking in the auditorium is against the fire regulations. Gentlemen who wish to smoke will kindly go outside, or they can smoke in the boys' locker room in the southwest corner of the building. I thank you.
Boo.
Well, Mr. Gildersleeve, going to try for the bareback rider?
You bet. What's more, I'm going to get her.
Well, go ahead. Here she comes.
Don't worry, I see her. If I can...
Hi, Commissioner. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Peavy.
Happy New Year.
For heaven's sake, another pirate? Is that you, Floyd?
It ain't Captain Kidd. Well, I'll see you later. I got my eye on that lady bareback rider.
Oh, no, you don't. I got my eye on her.
So what? It's a free country.
You're a married man, Floyd. Isn't your wife here?
Sure she's here, but there's no law says I gotta dance with her all night.
Well, you lay off that lady bareback rider.
You better get this settled, gentlemen. Here she comes.
She's mine. Don't move, Floyd. Pardon me, fair maiden. May I cut in?
Hey, beat it, will you? I just got her a minute ago myself.
That doesn't make any difference. You're supposed... Nuts.
What happened, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Well, a fella just got her. I decided to give him a break.
Horse feathers. She's just choosy, that's all. I tried her a couple of times myself.
Oh, is that so? Wait till next time around. I'll show you.
Here comes something, Mr. Gildersleeve. In the hula skirt there. Looks pretty good. For you, I mean.
Hula skirt? Say.
Listen, Commissioner,
I don't need any advice or help from you, Floyd.
Okay.
Pardon me, fair maiden. May I cut in?
You sure may.
See you later, pirates.
I'll be darned. He got her.
Yeah, he got her all right. I tried to warn him, but he wouldn't listen.
What do you mean?
That's the wife. Well, serves him right for being such a bullhead.
I remember when I was first going with Floydie, Mr. Gildersleeve. He used to take me to dances all the time.
Yeah.
He used to be nice and light on his feet, but he's terrible now. I suppose it's from standing around that barber chair all day. That'd give anybody fallen arches. And then he's put on so much weight.
Yes.
Whatever it is, I'm crazy about dancing, but he don't seem to care for it.
Would you like some punch or something, Mrs. Munson?
Oh, no, I'm not thirsty. I'd rather just dance, Mr. Gildersleeve. Floyd told me one time he wished I was a blonde instead of a brunette, so I went and got my hair bleached. You should have heard him holler. Do you think I look better blonde, Mr. Gildersleeve?
I guess so. I mean, not particularly. I mean... Hi, Floyd.
Hi, Commissioner. Swell party, ain't it?
Yeah.
It's nice to see Floydie enjoying himself for a change, as long as I'm having a good time, too.
Yes,
Daddy and I had a terrible argument about my costume. He said he thought a hula skirt was too undignified, but I know what he meant.
Yeah.
He meant he thought I was too old for it.
Oh?
But I guess I showed him. What I say is a girl isn't too old unless she feels too old.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm too old for a hula skirt, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Mrs. Munson, will you excuse me for a minute? I have to go to the boys' locker room.
Well, Gildy, Happy New Year. Why aren't you dancing?
I've been dancing, and you know it. Why didn't you cut in on me when I waved at you?
That hula skirt didn't fool me.
Old goat.
Say, here comes the lady bareback rider. Who is she anyway?
I don't know.
My impression is she's a little too popular for the likes of us.
Us? Speak for yourself, Hooker. There's nothing the matter with me. Just watch me. Pardon me, fair maiden. May I cut in?
Oh, for Pete's sake, I just got her myself.
What of it? You're supposed to let another fellow. I'll report you to the Grand Marshal. He's a friend of mine. Nuts. Well, here's one don't look so bad. Pardon me, fair maiden. May I cut in?
Throckmorton. Of course you may.
Eve. Gosh, I didn't know it was you. You look wonderful in that, whatever it is.
What a nice compliment.
It's a fact. Wouldn't have known it was you.
I'm supposed to be an Arabian princess.
Well, I'm a bold, bad pirate holding you for ransom. Say, how about shaking this fellow you're with? We could go over to my place.
Oh, I don't think I could do that.
Why not? The chief again, the big show-off, stops the music every 10 seconds or you can make a speech.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. In a few moments, we'll have the main event of the evening, the gentleman's foot race, followed by the unmasking, the grand march, and supper.
A foot race on this floor?
The regulations, as agreed on by the arrangements committee, are as follows. The ladies will line up at the east end of the auditorium, and the gentlemen at the opposite or west end.
Yes.
At the signal, the men will race to claim their partners. First come, first served. That is, whoever you catch is your partner for the grand march and for supper, which will follow immediately. I thank you.
Shall we dance some more, Eve?
If you like.
Say, Eve, I've got an idea. Let's have supper together. Tell this gym teacher you promised me the supper dance.
But Throckmorton, you just heard the announcement. Everyone is supposed to race for supper partners.
Well, we could get around it. We could sneak out right now and come back after the race is over.
Why, Throckmorton, that would be cheating. But if you win the race fair and square, I'd love to have supper with you.
Race on this floor? Against a professional athlete?
Well, if you don't care enough to try...
Pardon me, may I cut in?
What the... Oh, him.
Oh, hello, Arthur. Thank you so much, Throckmorton.
You're welcome. My George, I'd like to show her. And that muscle man, too. Lionel Strongport. I could figure out a way to win that race. Oh, why don't you look where you're going?
All ready for the main event. Are the ladies in their places? Yeah. Gentlemen in their places? All right. I'll say 1, 2, 3, and then strike this gong, which has been kindly provided by Chick Miller, our orchestra leader. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I made it! I choose the lady bareback rider.
Mr. Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve is the fastest man in the crowd. Let's give him a hand.
It wasn't so much.
How in the dickens did you do it, Commissioner? Everybody else was sliding around and falling down.
I went outside and put on my rubbers.
Well, I'll be darned.
I used my head, that's all.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone will now unmask.
Well, here I am, fair maiden, Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve, at your service. Come on, you have to take yours off, too.
Pete?
Marjorie! I forbade you to... That costume, why, it's disgraceful. And now I'm stuck with you for supper.
You're stuck. I wanted to eat with Jerry, and now he's got somebody else.
By George, I've got a mind to spank you.
Happy New Year, Marjorie.
Same to you, Miss Goodwin.
Oh, I think it was sweet of you to choose Marjorie as your partner, Throckmorton. After all, New Year's Eve is a time for families to be together.
Oh, what's the use?
Sing, Marjorie. Old acquaintance be forgot, and days of old lang syne. Sing, Unky.
Nuts. Oh, lang syne, my dear. Oh, lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for days of old lang syne. Darn it, I can't even manage to be a bad boy.
The great Gildersleeve will be with us again shortly. I suppose every one of us would like to know what's ahead in 1947. Well, at the Kraft Foods Company, we have high hopes that delicious country sweet parquet margarine will be available in larger quantities this coming year. More parquet will be produced just as quickly as more fine, wholesome farm products are available. And perhaps the time isn't far off when there'll be plenty of parquet margarine for everyone. And here's one thing you can be sure of. Every single pound of parquet you buy in 1947 will be the same fine quality as always. Rich in good flavor, high in food energy. Every pound reliably fortified with 15,000 units of vitamin A. So look first for this margarine of Kraft quality. Look first for Parquet, P-A-R-K-A-Y, Parquet margarine, made by Kraft.
Pass the cinnamon rolls, will you, Marjorie?
Uncle, you had 4.
I don't care. I don't feel good. I need nourishment. For heaven's sake, can't the chief even let us eat in peace?
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. The committee of judges have asked me to announce the name of the lady they have chosen as Queen of the Masked Ball. I'm happy to announce that Her Majesty is Miss Marjorie Gildersleeve Forrester.
She's my niece. She's my niece, do you hear? By George, Gildersleeve blood will tell.
The Great Gildersleeve is played by Harold Perry. It is written by John Whedon and Sam Moore. The music is by Jack Meakin. Included in the cast are Walter Tetley as Leroy, Louise Erickson as Marjorie, and Lillian Randolph as Bertie. Judge Hooker is Earl Ross, and Dick LeGrand is Mr. Peavy. This is John Lang saying goodnight for the Kraft Foods Company and inviting you to listen in again next Wednesday for the further adventures of the Great Gildersleeve.
Good night. Happy New Year. See you in Memphis next week.
It's one of the finest desserts you can imagine. Yes, rich, velvety, smooth ice cream made with Frizz. That's F-R-I-Z-Z. Frizz is a new Kraft product women are raving about. It makes real homemade ice cream that has plenty of milk and cream in it. Just add water, a little sugar, and freeze according to directions on the package. Frizz is made by an exclusive process that retains the fresh cream flavor. Gives you ice cream that freezes smoothly. Flavor variations from vanilla are easy. 6 generous servings from one package of Frizz.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
From Memphis, Tennessee, in celebration of the formal opening of Kraft's new branch and distribution center here, the Kraft Foods Company presents The Great Gildersleeve. It's The Great Gildersleeve, starring Harold Perry, brought to you by the Kraft Foods Company, makers of Parquet Margarine and a complete line of famous quality food products. Wednesday, January 8th, 1947. Exactly 1 week ago, Gildersleeve turned over a new leaf. So this must be the new Gildersleeve we see today. But as he sits there at his desk in the water department with his feet on the blotter and his chair tilted back, paring his nails, it's hard to tell him from the old Gildersleeve.
Yes, Bessie?
Judge Hooker calling.
Yeah, put him on. The old goat, what does he want?
Hello? Hello?
Gildersleeve.
Well, what's new, Gildy? What do you know?
Look, I haven't got time for any small talk, Judge. I'm a busy man. If you want something, state your business.
I had a letter from an old friend of yours today, Gildy. A lady friend.
Oh, you did. Look, Judge, my time is not my own. I can't sit here gabbing all... Who's it from?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, for heaven's sake, when you come to your senses, call me back. Hello. You still there, Judge?
I wouldn't hang up if I were you, Gildy. You might be missing something.
Listen, I'm not interested in hearing any gossip, particularly if it concerns a friend of mine. What about her?
Coming to town. Arrives this afternoon, in fact.
Who's coming to town?
A certain Mrs. Culpepper.
I don't know any Mrs.
It's Leila, you ninny. Leila Ransom.
What's the matter with me? Must be my heart. Gosh.
Well, aren't you going to say anything? It seems Leila and her new husband, the doctor, that is, are on their way to a medical convention in Chicago. She's stopping off here for a couple of days while he goes on ahead. Wants to see about selling a house. I've got a prospect for her. I expect we'll close the deal while she's here. Just thought that you'd like to know she's coming, old man.
Leila, coming here.
Now, Gildy? Gildy, are you there? Gildy? Hello? Rats.
Leila. This isn't right. She's married.
Mr. Gildersleeve, did you call? Mr. Gildersleeve. Mr. Gildersleeve, where are you going?
Out.
Will you be coming back?
Hey. Sorry.
Really?
Sorry. Hey, look out where you're going. Leila, she's coming back. Leila's coming back tonight. What's the matter with me? I've got to get hold of myself.
Anything wrong, Bud?
What's that?
You okay?
Oh, certainly I'm okay. Guess I'd better go in here. Sit down, though.
Hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. What can I do for you?
I don't know, Peavy. You mind if I sit down for a minute?
Not at all. Those stools were placed there for the convenience of our customers.
Thanks, Peavy. I've been walking for hours.
Nice day, isn't it? I say it's a nice day. It would be if those clouds would go away. Looks like there's still a chance the sun might break through. On the other hand, it might not. You can't expect good weather this time of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if it rained before nightfall.
Peavy, could I have a glass of water?
Water? Certainly. What am I stirring it for? There you are, Mr. Gildersleeve. And no charge.
Thanks.
Now, aren't you going to drink it?
Peavy, if a man falls in love with a woman only he doesn't know it, and she goes off and marries somebody else, and then he finds out he was in love with her the whole time, only it's too late, only he's still in love with her, is that wrong?
That's what's wrong.
The whole thing. Can a man be blamed for something he can't help?
What man?
Nobody you know, Peavy. He's a friend of mine.
Oh.
You see, this friend of mine, well, it's quite a tragic situation, Peavy. It seems this friend of mine is in love with this girl. Oh, hell, she's not a girl exactly. She's married now, and all of a sudden he finds he's in love with her. Has been all along, I guess. This friend, I mean. What do you think he should do about it?
Well, I'd say he'd better forget it.
But he can't forget it. It preys on him. It haunts him night and day. It's always in his thoughts, every minute. What do you think he should do?
Take up a hobby.
That's no solution, Peavy. You don't understand. This girl is coming to town. My friend is liable to run into her.
Mrs. Ransom coming to town?
Who said anything about Mrs. Ransom? This has nothing whatever to do with Mrs. Ransom. This is two other people.
My mistake. What did you want of me, Mr. Gildersleeve?
I don't know. I just say it's a problem, that's all.
Yes, it is.
Maybe the only thing to do is jump in the river. My friend, I mean. Maybe there's no hope for him.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
Goodbye, Peavy.
Mr. Gildersleeve, where are you? Dear me, I hope he isn't going to... Oh, no, Mr. Gildersleeve is too sensible a man. I wouldn't say that either.
Faster. Where am I going? Am I trying to run away? You can't run away from your own heart, Throckmorton Gildersleeve. I don't have to run away. She can't chase me out of this town. I've got as much right in the summer field as she has. I'm not afraid of her. By George, I'll go back and face the music. A brilliant observation, Leroy.
You should have been here, Unc. Piggy and me had a snowball fight. We almost beamed Judge Hooker. I didn't mean to. I was ducking down behind the fort, hiding, see? And I heard these footsteps. Lucky thing I looked before I let him have it. Mrs. Ransom was with him.
Mrs. Ransom?
Yeah, she's in town, didn't you know?
Mrs. Ransom came here?
No, they were on their way to her house. I guess they're still over there.
Oh, she's avoiding me, eh? Very well. That's the way she wants it. That's the way it's to be. I'll avoid her, too. Perhaps it's all for the best.
Who's avoiding anybody? You weren't home. I don't get it. Hey, where's the evening paper?
Did you talk to her, Leroy?
Talk to who?
Mrs. Ransom.
I said hello.
What did she say?
Oh, I don't remember. Nothing particular.
Did she see you?
Sure, she said hello.
Oh, she didn't say anything else?
Nah. Hey, what happened to the paper, Daddy?
Come here, young man.
Gosh, what's the matter?
About your conversation with Mrs. Ransom, Leroy, try to remember. Did she say anything about me?
I don't think so. Heck, we only said hello, and then she went right on. I guess she probably said a few things like how much I'd grown and how's my uncle and all that kind of stuff. Conversation.
She asked about me?
Yeah, she asked how you were.
She cares.
I don't get it. Hey, where's the paper anyway? Maybe nobody brought it in.
She doesn't dare to see me. That's it. She doesn't dare.
The paper was out there. Mrs. Ransom's just leaving, Unc, if you want to say hello. If you run out, you can catch her.
What do I want to say hello for? I can do that anytime. Where's my hat? Where's my overcoat?
Where you going?
Never mind.
Well, what did I tell Bertie? Dinner's
I'm just going downtown for a minute.
Well, Gildy.
Throckmorton.
Hello, I didn't see you. I was going downtown.
Well, it's certainly nice to see you, Throckmorton.
It's nice to see you.
You look just the same.
So do you. You look just the same.
Leila and I have just been checking the house. You going downtown, you say, Gildy?
Me? Why should I go downtown? It's supper time. You look just the same, Leila.
You haven't changed a bit.
No, I'm just the same. How's your husband?
Oh, he's just fine. I'm going to meet him in Chicago day after tomorrow.
That's fine.
I don't know whether I mentioned this, Leila, but I thought since you're staying tomorrow, it'd be nice for you to see a few of your old friends.
Oh, well, Horace, I didn't want you to go to a lot
Just a few people, Leila. They're coming for tea tomorrow afternoon. It's all arranged. You'll come, I trust, Throckmorton?
No.
What?
You heard me.
I'm sorry you won't be there, Throckmorton.
I can't help it. I have an engagement.
Oh.
An engagement I can't possibly break. Well, nice to have seen you, Leila.
Thank you.
Give my regards to your husband. So long. So long, Judge.
Bye.
Bye.
Why did you do that, you fool? Gildersleeve, you're a nincompoop.
The great Gildersleeve will be back very shortly.
Mr. Lang, I wonder if you'd like to hear the comments of new customers for Parquet Margarine.
We certainly would.
Well, this is from a letter Mother wrote me after she and Dad had been introduced to Parquet while visiting me over the holidays. Quote, "Your New Year's Day dinner was simply delicious, Dorothy, especially the pinwheel rolls. And by the way, I intended to ask you for the name of that delicious margarine you served. It tasted so good on those hot rolls. I want especially to get some because your father liked it as well as I did." Unquote.
I see what you mean. So that's how we got 2 new boosters for Parquet Margarine. Yes, once they've tried this delicious spread, folks really appreciate Parquet's fresh, country sweet flavor. And now that quite a bit more Parquet Margarine is going to your food store, we suggest that you try it, too, at your first opportunity. When you shop tomorrow, look first for Parquet, Parkay, Parquet Margarine, made by Kraft. Now let's get back to our story. After a bad night of tossing and twisting, Gildersleeve has come to the conclusion that the only way out of this difficult situation is to face it. And so at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, wearing his #1 dark suit, we find him at Judge Hooker's door after all.
Gildy, I thought you weren't coming.
I changed my mind. Here's a cake.
Cake? What the dickens did you bring cake for?
I thought maybe you could use it. Help out.
Well, thank you very much. You didn't need to bring anything.
That's all right. It isn't much of a cake. Is Leila here?
Yeah, she's here. Come in. I believe you know everybody here. Just throw your hat and coat in the closet, will you, old man? And then come into the parlor and join the merry throng.
Well, thanks. Good afternoon, Burbig. And Mrs. Burbig. I haven't seen you in ages. Well, Dr. Pettibone, as I live and breathe. How are you? Mrs. Pettibone. You're looking splendid, Mrs. Pettibone. Mrs. Trask, what a beautiful shawl. And Mrs. Wren and Mrs. Culpepper, how lovely to see you again.
Throckmorton, I thought you weren't coming.
Fooled you, didn't I?
Gildy, would you care for a cup of tea?
Tea? I never touch the stuff, Judge. It gives me ideas.
Oh, Throckmorton, you're terrible. Isn't he terrible, Judge?
He certainly is. Well, you don't want tea, Gildy. Come over and sit down. Mrs. Pettibone is going to favor us with a song.
A song? Oh, no.
Throckmorton, hush. Mrs. Pettibone will hear you.
My first selection, Fred. My first selection will be one of the doctor's favorites. Just a wearying for you. Just a wearying for you. All the time.
I was Doc Pettibone, I'd never come home.
Throckmorton. Horace, would you mind if I went out to the kitchen and got a glass of water?
Let me, Leila.
Oh, no. You're the host. I'll be right back.
I'll be right back, too, Judge.
Gildy, Throckmorton, what will people say?
What do I care? If Mrs. Pettibone's a singer, I'm Jack Dempsey.
Oh, you're the same old Throckmorton, aren't you?
Yeah. And you're the...
What?
Nothing.
Throckmorton, would you mind running over to my house with me for a minute?
What for?
Well, maybe I left the gas on.
Do you think you did?
Well, maybe I ought to make sure.
Yeah, but what about all those people in there? Do you think they'd notice?
Oh, they're all listening to the music.
Well, come on. We wouldn't want your house to blow up. There, now it's going.
Oh, I declare, you build the best fires, Throckmorton.
You want to see me make a real big fire?
Oh, not another log. You'll burn the house down, silly.
Can your husband build fires?
Julian Henry? Oh, he's mostly too busy. Besides, he has to be careful of his hands. He's a surgeon, you know.
What's that got to do with it?
Well, you know, he might get a splinter.
Who's afraid of a little splinter? I've got a splinter right there. Had it for a week. Doesn't bother me.
Let me see. Oh, Throckmorton, that's terrible.
Nothing.
But doesn't it hurt?
What do I care?
I could kiss it and make it better.
Leila? Hey, we forgot what we came over here for, Leila. We never looked at the gas.
Oh, if it were on, we'd smell it. Now, come and sit down.
All right. Feels good.
It does feel good, doesn't it?
Am I crowding you?
Oh, not at all. In fact, on the contrary.
Leila?
Yes, Throckmorton.
Leila, what are we doing here?
Well, why shouldn't we, for goodness sake?
But what would Julian Henry say?
Oh, he wouldn't care.
Yeah, that's a surgeon for you.
Oh, I don't want you to think he isn't jealous, if that's what you mean. Gracious, he's just about the most jealous man I know. Watches me like a cat every minute. But after all, he's off at this medical convention. And there's nothing wrong in just sitting here watching the fire, is there? Two old friends.
I went to church last Sunday.
Did you? How's Dr. Needham?
Dr. Needham? Oh, he's fine. Leila, I think I ought to tell you. When I'm with you, I don't feel like just an old friend.
Don't you? What do you feel like? What's Throckmorton? You're trembling.
I shouldn't have come here, Leila. I have no business here.
Oh, Throckmorton, what is it? Tell Leila.
I can't. I've tried to fight it, Leila. Heaven knows I've tried to fight it.
But it was just something bigger than you.
You know, then.
Oh, it's something bigger than either of us, Throckmorton. I don't think we should fight it another minute.
Leila, we better get out of here.
Don't go. Please, darling.
Darling. Ye gods, this is terrible. Leila, this is wicked.
Why?
You shouldn't be here with me. You belong to another. What about Julian Henry?
What if I were to tell you, Throckmorton, that Julian Henry and I are separated?
Separated? You mean it?
Uh-huh.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry to hear it. That's too bad, isn't it? Oh, and so soon, too. Leila, was he ever cruel to you?
Terribly.
Why, I never did like that guy. I never liked a single thing I ever heard about him. Calls himself a doctor. I'll bet he's... Well, never mind. Have you ever gone back to him?
Never.
Good.
That's why I say, Throckmorton, there's no reason why we shouldn't be perfectly friendly, you and I.
Come here, you.
Make me. Throckmorton, stop.
By George, this is just like old times. Yes, sir. Hey, wait.
What?
You're still married.
Well, I told you, Throckmorton.
That doesn't make any difference. Just because you're separated, you're still married.
Well, let's not be silly about it. I mean, after all...
Silly? Leila, I'm as broad-minded as anybody, but no, sir. I'd really better get out of here.
Oh, Throckmorton, don't be ridiculous.
Leila, what would people say? What would Dr. Needham say? Us sitting here all alone, you married, and me without a chaperone.
Throckmorton.
Well, I'd better take you back to the party. Come on, Leila.
Throckmorton, will you please listen to me?
Well,
Now, come and sit down.
well, I'll sit down, but that's all.
Throckmorton, I told you Julian Henry and I were separated.
Yes?
What if I told you we were never married?
Well, what?
It's true. I couldn't go through with it. I just couldn't go through with it. I couldn't stand his relatives, his mother and his sisters and all. They hated me because they were all as homely as a picket fence, every last one of them. And they just had Julian Henry tied to their apron strings. I felt terrible leaving him at the church like that, but what could I do?
Leila, what about you and him coming up here together? I mean, this medical convention.
I made that up. It was all a little white lie, Throckmorton. Julian Henry didn't come up with me. I came alone. I was just going to slip into town and sell my house and slip right out again without ever seeing anybody.
Not even me?
I didn't want to see a soul because I knew what all those old tabby cats around town would be saying. Often a bridesmaid, but never a bride. They'll say Julian Henry walked out on me. But it's not true. I walked out on him. I did. There. I've told you. And I suppose you'll never speak to me again.
Oh, my goodness. Somebody's at the door, Leila. What if they find us here? What if... Wait a minute. Everything's perfectly proper here. Everything's open and above board. What are they talking about? Leila, it couldn't be Julian Henry.
Julian Henry wouldn't have the nerve to show his face here. Not after the way he walked. Not after I left him waiting at the church the way I did.
Well, in that case...
So, just as I suspected. Leila, I think this calls for some explanation, I must say. Running out like this. After all, you were my guest of honor.
I kidnapped the lady, Horace. Have you got anything to say about it?
Yes. I consider that your conduct, Gildersleeve, has been that of a bounder. However, I'm here in the role of Mrs. Ransom's legal counsel, not her chaperone. I mean Mrs. Culpepper. Now, to get down to business, Leila, the time is short.
If it's about the house, Judge, it's not for sale.
What's that?
I say the house is not for sale.
Well, I think Leila might have something to say about that. Leila?
Whatever Throckmorton says, Horace.
But, Leila, you told me only yesterday what... I have your written authorization, your power of attorney. I closed the deal with the bank.
You heard the lady, Judge. Anything else you'd like to know? Thank you very much. We'll be seeing you soon, no doubt. Watch the step outside. They're a little slippery for old goats.
I should just like to say this.
Good night, Horace, and thanks for everything.
Oh, Throckmorton, you're terrible to Horace. You're terrible to everybody. You're just terrible.
Yeah, that's me.
I declare I don't know why I have anything to do with you. Now, come back here and sit down.
Hard day today. Say, how's to toss another log on the fire there, Leila, huh? Let's have a little warmth around here. What do you say?
All right.
Careful not to stain yourself there. That's the girl. Easy does it. Throw it way in back, Leila. That's the girl.
Oh, Throckmorton, it's so wonderful to have a man around the house again.
You said it.
You'll be hearing from the great Gildersleeve again in just a minute. There's an old saying that money talks, but these days many a homemaker's food bill leaves the impression that money only whispers. Of course, one way to keep your budget in line is to look for only the best values in foods. And that's why we've been suggesting that you look first for delicious, economical Parquet margarine when you shop for your family's spread for bread. Among good energy foods, Parquet margarine is one of the finest, made of rich, wholesome farm products and fortified with important vitamin A. Yet delicious country sweet Parquet generally sells for less than half the price of costly spreads. So for a real value in a quality spread for bread, be sure to look first for delicious, economical Parquet. That's Parkay. Parquet margarine, made by the Kraft Foods Company.
Well, it's all set, Leila. The judge can get your house back, but it may take a couple of months.
Oh, well, I couldn't possibly move up here before spring anyway.
Hey, why not?
Oh, no, I have to go right back to Savannah. You see, I'm staying with my Auntie Pooh down there. You remember me telling you about my Auntie Pooh, Throckmorton, the one that's so rich?
Auntie Pooh?
She hasn't been at all well this winter, poor old soul, and she's rich as sin, and I just couldn't bear to think of anything happening to her when I wasn't there.
Well, I suppose we'll have to leave it go at that, then. Now, if your Auntie Pooh will just get a move... well, I guess I shouldn't say that. But hurry back, Leila. You'll be as welcome as the flowers in spring. Won't you, folks?
The Great Gildersleeve is played by Harold Perry. It is written by John Glidden and Sam Moore. The music is by Jack Meakin. Walter Tetley is Leroy. Shirley Mitchell plays Leila Ransom. Judge Hooker is Earl Ross. And Dick LeGrand plays Mr. Peebles.
It's a treat that's always surefire with the whole family. Ice cream made with Frizz, the new Kraft product. Yes, Frizz makes delicious, velvety smooth ice cream right in your own refrigerator. Real ice cream, rich with plenty of milk and cream. Just add water, a little sugar, and freeze according to directions on the package. Add fruit juice, flavoring, or coffee, or variations from vanilla. Frizz is made by an exclusive process that retains the fresh cream flavor. Ask your grocer for Frizz, F-R-I-Z-Z. 6 generous servings from one package.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
From Chicago, the Kraft Foods Company presents The Great Gildersleeve. It's The Great Gildersleeve, starring Harold Perry, brought to you by the Kraft Foods Company, makers of Parquet Margarine and a complete line of famous quality food products. Well, you ought to be in Summerfield. The drizzle that started Friday afternoon and threatened to spoil the weekend turned suddenly to snow last night. Great feathery flakes that floated down and spread a white blanket of silence over the whole town. The kids were up early this morning, pelting each other and leaping and rolling and wallowing in it. When Gildersleeve rubbed the sleep from his eyes and looked out upon it, one thing came instantly to his mind, and apparently it had come to others.
Hello. Hello, Chief. Gildersleeve. Say, have you looked out your window, Chief? You see what's out there? Well, sure. Well, of course. We'll never get a better snow for it than this. He did, eh? Good for Floyd. Well, tell him to line up his cousin Sleigh. Tell him to pile some nice, clean straw in it. Oh, and tell him... What's that? Yeah. Don't you worry about the girls, Chief. You know who's in charge of the Committee on Arrangements? Yours truly. Can Will Weaver come out and play?
Throckmorton. You look like a snowman.
Yeah, it's still coming down.
Oh, it's so beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, beautiful. Say,
Look there, the delicate tracery of those bare branches.
Yeah, branches. Say...
And the fresh fallen snow so blue in the shadows. And where the sun catches it, the way it shimmers.
Yeah, shimmers. Say, Eve...
Oh, but come inside. Take your coat off.
No, I better not. It's all over snow. And besides, I've got a lot of other calls to make.
We'll step into the hall anyway. It's cold out here.
Well...
Oh, that's all right.
Say, Eve, how'd you... Well, I will take this scarf off. Christmas present. Keeps getting in my mouth. Say, Eve, how'd you like to go for a sleigh ride?
A sleigh ride? Oh, I think that would be wonderful. Where on earth would you get a sleigh?
Well, Floyd Munson's cousin's got one. He delivers milk in.
Oh. Well, I think that would be fun.
Fun? You bet it's fun.
Country's so beautiful right now. I'd love to drive out and see some of it.
Well, you wouldn't see too much. We'd be going at night. Tomorrow night, that is.
But why go at night?
More fun that way.
Oh. Well, I've never gone on midnight sleigh rides.
Oh, come on, Eve. Everybody else is going.
Oh, we wouldn't be alone then.
Alone?
Oh, well, in that case...
Sure, you'll have plenty of chaperones. All the Jolly Boys will be there.
Oh. Well, I don't know.
They're all nice fellows, Eve. Every one of them. Of course, some are nicer than others, but we keep an eye on him.
Well, I don't
Gosh, it wouldn't be a sleigh ride without you, Eve. The fellows were all counting on you to be the queen of the winter carnival, so to speak.
Is Mr. Peavy going?
Peavy?
Well, if Mr. Peavy goes, I'll go.
Listen, Peavy wouldn't miss it. He'll go if I have to drag him.
Then tell your friends the Queen is honored and accepts with pleasure.
Glad you could make it, Eve. See you tomorrow night.
You'll call for me here.
I'll be here with bells on. Well, I know you don't know me very well, but gosh, Miss Fenwick, the boys were all counting on you for queen of the sleigh ride. And now if you let them down...
Well...
Atta girl. See you tomorrow. Well, your mother wouldn't have to know, would she? We wouldn't have to drive right up in front. We could stop down the block a little ways. See, the boys are going to be awfully disappointed. They were sort of counting on you to be the queen of the sleigh ride.
Well...
8 o'clock tomorrow. Say, you haven't got a friend, have you? Down by the old mill stream, the old mill stream. Hi, Floyd, Chief.
Hi, Commissioner.
Only you two making all this noise? I thought you had the whole Metropolitan Chorus up here and a couple of dogs.
Oh, no, Commissioner. Only us dogs.
Yeah, just killing time till the rest came.
Oh, where are they? What's the matter? Listen, we got to get all our arrangements made tonight, or there won't be any sleigh ride tomorrow.
Well, Peeve ought to be along soon as he closes up. I don't know about the judge. I heard he wasn't feeling so good.
Yes, how is the judge? Has anybody heard?
The old goat, what's the matter with him?
Well, he's got the flu or the pip or something.
Oh? Come to think of it, I haven't heard from the old gent in 2 or 3 days. Kind of a relief, as a matter of fact. Nothing serious, Chief.
I don't know. I suppose we could call him.
Who's that?
That you, Peeve? Wait a minute, here comes Peavy. Maybe he'd know.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Well, all present or accounted for now, except Hooker.
Say, how is the judge, Phoebe? Have you heard?
Yeah, how is he?
I'm afraid Judge Hooker is a sick man, gentlemen.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Really? I mean, really sick? How sick, Peavy?
Yeah, is he bad?
Well, I'm not a physician, gentlemen.
We know that.
I don't like to make a diagnosis without having seen a patient. Even if I did, I couldn't because, as I say, I'm not a physician.
We know all that, Peavy. But how is he?
Well, as I say, I haven't seen the judge. I only know what I've heard.
Well, what do you hear?
Well, I didn't hear this from Dr. Pettibone.
He's out of town.
That's right, Floyd.
I know. I give him a going-away haircut.
So, evidently the judge or his housekeeper called in Dr. Frieden.
Never heard of him. Who's he?
He's a new doctor, a young fellow. He lives over on the other side of town.
Don't he ever get a haircut?
Yeah, never mind that.
Oh.
Yeah. What did he say, Peavy?
Well, I really don't know him well enough to be too inquisitive, but I'll say this for Dr. Frieden. He may be young, but he writes a nice, legible prescription.
Never mind how he writes. What did he say?
Yes, tell us, Peavy.
Well, you know, doctors, they don't say much, but I was wrapping up his prescription, and I asked him casually how Judge Hooker was. And he shook his head.
Oh, gosh.
That's bad.
Of course, I don't know whether he was shaking his head over the judge's health or his disposition, but what I go by is this. He wrote out a pretty stiff prescription for the old gentleman.
Yeah?
Penicillin.
Penicillin? Oh, that's usually a last resort, isn't it?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
They use it. They use it to treat pneumonia. I know that.
Yes, Chief, they do in certain types of cases.
Oh, the judge is no chicken anymore, fellas. Wouldn't take much to carry him off.
Gosh. And to think only last Saturday he was sitting right there in that chair looking just as natural.
Yeah. That's right, Floyd.
Gentlemen, I'd like to make a motion, if I may.
Yeah, Peeve?
Go ahead.
In view of the circumstances, I think we should postpone our sleigh ride tomorrow night. I don't think...
Hey, but what about the girls?
Peavy's right. I don't think we should hold our sleigh ride without the judge.
Besides, our hearts wouldn't be in it.
Well, what about the girls after we went and asked them and everything?
Floyd, it wouldn't look right.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
It's been moved and seconded that we postpone our annual sleigh ride scheduled for tomorrow night and that our lady guests be so notified. All in favor?
I nominate Gildersleeve, a committee of one to disappoint the girls.
No, wait a minute.
Well, you started it. You invited them.
Fellas, I'd like to make a motion of my own if you'll give me a chance.
Go ahead, Chief.
I'd like to move that the judge's empty chair there be set apart as his exclusively with a suitable plaque.
Well, Chief, I think we ought to wait on the plaque. Till we, see how things turn out. It's a nice thought.
Well, maybe so. I was just thinking what Floyd said. How he could remember him sitting there.
Like it was yesterday.
I guess we all can. And I thought it'd be nice if we did something.
Well, gentlemen, why don't we do something the judge can enjoy? That is, if he can enjoy anything now.
Like what, Peavy?
Well, you could send him some little token, something useful maybe.
Like a hot water bottle?
Floyd.
Flowers. That's what you send the invalid. Yeah, flowers. Why don't we send him some flowers?
Roses are nice. The judge is always puttering around among his roses. They smell nice, too.
He probably couldn't smell them. Head's probably stopped up.
You're always finding fault.
All right, so it isn't stopped up. Maybe they got him in an oxygen tent by now, for all we know. Maybe he can't smell a thing.
All right, shove the roses in the tent with him, but stop raising objections.
Fellas.
Okay. He likes roses. He likes them. Give him roses. Just so it ain't lilies.
Floyd, I think that last remark was in bad taste.
Well, he started it.
I don't think the judge would want us quarreling over him before he's dead, even.
I don't think that's such hot taste.
I didn't mean it that way. What I mean is, I think the judge would want us all to be jolly boys and carry on, just as if he was, well, as if he was here.
The chief is right. That's the way I'd want it. Yes, sir. I wouldn't want my friends all sitting around here with long faces. Let there be no moaning at the bar when I put out to sea. You know what I think we ought to do, fellas? I think we ought to have a song.
Now you're talking.
Oh, gentlemen, do you think we really ought to?
One of the judge's favorites.
The judge would want it that way, Peavy.
That's right. The judge would want it that way.
Well.
You know what the judge's favorite is?
Yeah, but who's going to take the solo part? The judge usually takes that. That's why it's his favorite.
I will take the solo, Floyd.
You? Why you?
The judge would want it that way.
I think he's right. Give us a chord, Floyd.
Okay.
Sylvia's hair is like the night, touched with glancing starry beams. Such a face that drifts through dreams. This is Sylvia through the sky.
Take it, Commissioner.
And the touch of Sylvia's hand. I can't do it, fellas. I can't do it. It's not the same without the judge.
No, it's not.
I remember. It's just like he was sitting there.
Gentlemen, I move we adjourn before we make fools of ourselves.
The great Gildersleeve will be back again in a few moments.
I suppose, Mr. Lang, you have some interesting things to tell us tonight about your stay here in Chicago.
Yes, and one of the high points of my visit was a trip today through the Parquet margarine plant, one of the many modern plants in which Kraft makes delicious country sweet Parquet.
Oh, I'd like to hear about that.
And I'll try to give you a brief word picture. As you enter the Parquet plant, you see a row of gleaming white tanks containing huge quantities of fresh, sweet, pasteurized skim milk. In this room, cultured skim milk is held at carefully controlled temperature, constantly protected to safeguard purity and freshness until it is blended with highly refined vegetable oils and other wholesome ingredients. This bright, clean room is typical of all sections of the Parquet margarine plant. They're as spotless as a housewife's best china. If you could see the care and skill lavished by our Kraft people in making Parquet, I'm sure you'd appreciate even more the wholesome goodness of this popular spread for bread. Reason, too, why you'll want to look first when you shop for this spread of Kraft quality. Parkay. Parquet margarine. Made by the Kraft Foods Company. Now let's get back to the great Gildersleeve. Gildersleeve and his niece and nephew had been to church, it being Sunday. We joined the family as they shuffled homeward through the snowy streets.
Leroy, I want you to shovel the snow off our front walk the very first thing after dinner.
After dinner?
After dinner?
Today?
Today.
This is Sunday.
I don't care if it's... Be sure and do it the first thing Monday morning.
Okay. Maybe by Monday it'll be melted. I'm hungry. I hope Bertie's got a good dinner for us.
Yeah, me too. That's one thing about going to church. Gives you an appetite. And then there's the spiritual values. Get the snow off your feet, my boy. Bertie wouldn't want you tracking it all over the floor. You don't have to kick the house down.
I can smell the dinner. I'm starved.
Yes. Well, we can just sit quietly till it's ready.
Can't I play the radio, Unc? It's an educational program.
Educational?
A football quiz.
Yeah. We'll just sit quietly, my boy. You might go up and wash your hands.
I washed them for church.
I guess you'll do then. Maybe I should call up and find out how he is.
Yes, why don't you?
Don't like to phone his house at a time like this. Still,
Ask if there's anything we can do, Unky.
I will.
What could there be? Doesn't matter. There might be some little errand.
Hello, Mrs. Fogel? This is Mr. Gildersleeve. I don't like to intrude at a time like this, but at the same time, being such a close friend. How is he, Mrs. Fogel? I see. Oh, that's bad. Well, I thought I might stop by this afternoon with some flowers, but if you think not, I'll come by then. Thank you, Mrs. Fogel.
What's the word, Unc?
Not good. Poor old horse. Well, I want you children always to remember him. Remember all he's done for you.
What?
The interest he's taken in you. An interest which has gone far, far beyond the call of duty. He's been a good friend to all of us. A friend and an inspiration.
What did Mrs. Fogel say?
Well, you know how hard it is to get anything out of her.
Oh, she's such an old crepe hanger.
I wish I'd given him a Christmas present now.
What did he give you?
Nothing. We made an agreement not to give each other anything this year. Naturally, I didn't think he meant it, so I got him some pipe tobacco. But then he never gave me anything, so I took the tobacco back to Peavy's. I'm sorry now.
Well, if he gets well, you can give it to him.
I will, too, by George. I surely will.
I'm hungry. Hey, Bertie, when is dinner?
Leroy, I will not have you shouting at Bertie.
Just a few minutes now, Leroy.
I found that we've got to learn to communicate with each other quietly around here. I've been meaning to speak to Bertie about it, too. Bertie! Leroy asked Bertie to come here for a moment. Go out in the kitchen and ask her.
Okay.
One of the signs of a well-run household is a quiet, peaceful atmosphere. Remember that, Marjorie.
I will.
Was there something you wanted, Mr. Gildersleeve?
I've been meaning to speak to you about a habit of yours, Bertie. Well, kind of a family habit, I guess. Leroy shouts all over the house, and you shout back at him.
You holler a little yourself, Unky.
Well, when everybody's doing it, I'm liable to slip once in a while. Just kind of watch it, will you, Bertie?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, Mr. Gildersleeve. I didn't know I was bothering anybody.
He's worried today, Bertie, about Judge Hooker.
Something the matter with the judge?
He's not expected to live, Bertie.
Oh, my land.
They put him in an oxygen tent, giving him transfusion.
Transfusion?
If the doctor knows his business. Poor old Judge. He's been a good friend of ours, hasn't he, Bertie?
Yes, sir, he sure has. But I ain't surprised to hear he's sick. A bachelor eating in restaurants all the time. Man's got to have home cooking if he wants to live a long time.
He's got a housekeeper.
She only comes in 2 days a week.
Yes, sir, man's got to have home cooking.
That's probably important, Bertie, but the judge has pneumonia.
Home cooking, that's the answer. Yes, sir, home cooking.
Yeah, now Bertie's all upset. You see how fond everyone is of the judge?
Bertie's always liked him.
Sorry I ever called him an old goat. Not that I ever meant anything by it. He was a fine man. Fine man. I want you children to try to be like him. Remember that.
You mean I have to be a lawyer?
No. Just be like him. His fine, manly qualities.
Okay. How can Marge be like him? She's a girl.
Try not to be stupid, Leroy. The judge had great human qualities. He was manly. That's for you. He was also upright, kind, honest, straightforward. That's for both of you. For all of us.
Okay. Say, did I tell you about Piggy and the manual training teacher? Piggy was in manual training and he ripped his pants on a nail, so
Leroy. Think of Judge Hooker.
Oh, gosh, I only...
That will do. Just sit with your hands folded till dinner is ready. Now remember, when we get inside, Floyd, try to keep your voice down, will you?
Why pick me out? I've been around.
Shut up.
Have you rung the bell yet? I'm cold.
Oh, stop whining, Peavy. For heaven's sake, let's think about the judge a little, shall we?
That's right, fellas. Let's think about the judge. After all, he's the one that... He's the one.
Jiggy, she's coming.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Fogel. We're a little group of the judge's best friends. We've come to pay a little visit and bring him some flowers.
Yeah, some flowers.
I don't know if you can see him or not. You'll have to ask the doctor. You can come in and wait until the doctor gets here if you like.
Thank you.
You gentlemen will just leave your coats here in the hall.
Yeah, I think I'll keep mine on if you don't mind.
Yeah, me too. We won't be hanging around very long.
And if you'll just come in the parlor.
Watch the carpet.
Oh, we might as well. Well, it seems awful quiet. Where is he, Mrs. Fogel?
His room's directly above.
Oh? Well, we'll just sit here. Has there been any change in his condition?
No change.
I see.
What is his condition?
He just stays about the same. Maybe the doctor can tell you something when he comes, although he never tells me anything.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah, afraid so.
Well, if you gentlemen will excuse me, I have some work to attend to.
Yeah, go right ahead, Mrs. Fogel. We don't want to be any bother.
That's all right, Mr. Gildersleeve.
It just don't seem possible, does it, fellas?
What don't?
About the judge. Why, only a week ago, he was his regular old self. Lively, cheerful, with a twinkle in his eye. You know.
Yeah, he looked okay to me last time he was in the shop. 5 days ago. He was in for a trim, and he climbed right up in the chair just as chipper.
Well, I saw him Wednesday, and I thought he looked a little peaked. Then again, maybe that's just hindsight.
Just think, Peavy. I guess you were the last one that saw him.
Oh, no, he wasn't. I saw him Wednesday. I bet I saw him after Peavy.
Well, what time did you see him, Commissioner?
About 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
When did you see him, Peavy?
About 4.
Well, now, wait a minute. On second thought, I believe I saw him around 4:30.
I thought you said 3.
I saw him at 4:30. I was the last man that saw him alive.
He came back to the store again around 5.
Why don't you stick to your story? You're just trying to get some glory out of this.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Fellas. Judge is laying up there, and how do you think this sounds?
Chief's right.
Well,
him laying up there and us fighting down here.
Well, I didn't mean any disrespect.
Well, neither did I. The last thing I'd want to do. After all, I guess I was closer to the judge than the rest of us.
Like ducks you were. I've known him 20 years. I've been cutting his hair 20 years. Bobby gets to know a fellow pretty well.
Well, I've known him 25 years, personally and professionally.
And I've been selling him liver pills for 30 years.
Well, under the circumstances, that's nothing to brag about. Anyway, the judge was practically a member of my family. One of the finest men I ever knew.
Yes, sir. What a heart.
Good old Horace.
Yeah.
He was true blue. Well, you never know when your time is going to come.
Oh, we're here today and gone tomorrow.
Tempus fugit.
What'd you say, Peavy?
He said tempus fugit. That's French. It means time flies.
Oh. Yes, that's right.
What the...
Hey, what's going on upstairs?
The judge, he must be delirious.
Mrs. Fogel! Mrs. Fogel, where the devil are you?
Sounds like he's having a spasm.
Where the devil is my chicken broth?
Mrs. Fogel, quick, the chicken. The judge.
By golly, I don't know why I can't have my broth on time. Here it is, 3:15. Well, what the dickens are you fellas doing here? Glad to see you.
Hooker, we thought you were dead. I mean dying.
Well, I'm not. What's more, I can prove it.
I'll be darned. Who started this rumor?
Yes, where'd it come from?
Peavy. He's the one. You told us he was at death's door.
Well, no, I didn't say that.
How do you like that? He's no sicker than I am.
Of course not. Say, how about a game of cards? Come on up to my room.
As my eye, we can call up the girls again and have our sleigh ride.
Yeah, good idea.
Fellas, please.
There's nothing the matter with you, you old goat. You spoiled our sleigh ride in the first place. Come on, fellas.
But Gildy.
Get some flowers, Judge. So long.
Yeah, so long, Horace. Go on back to bed. Dave, look at that beautiful moon. Isn't it beautiful?
It certainly is. And the snow always looks so lovely in the moonlight.
Yeah. Say, aren't you cold, Eve?
Oh, no, I'm perfectly comfortable.
Just thought you might snuggle up a little. I'm cold.
You are?
Oh, I'm freezing.
Well, goodness. I wouldn't want you to freeze to death.
Atta girl.
Oh, Mr. Munson, you're terrible.
Oh, no, I ain't so bad. Am I, Peavy?
Floyd, you're terrible and I'm cold.
Well, you should have brought a girl. Hey, maybe we could sing a song, warm Peavy up. How about a song, Chief?
Good idea. Start something, Commissioner.
Well, let's see. Any of you girls know Aunt Dinah's quilting party?
I'm afraid I don't. Me either.
Why don't you boys sing it? We'll listen.
Okay. Jolly Boys Quartet. In the sky, the bright stars glittered.
On the banks, the pale moon shone.
And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party we were seeing Nellie home. We were seeing Nellie home.
Seeing her home.
We were seeing Nellie home.
Seeing her home.
And 'twas from Aunt Dinah's quilting party we were seeing Nellie home.
Nellie home.
Say, fellas, you know something?
Well, what, Commissioner?
I'm glad Hooker couldn't come along. We sound a lot better without him.
We were singing Nellie home. Seeing her home.
We were singing Nellie home.
A few months ago, I had an opportunity to talk to the young women in our audience about the need for student nurses. That need is still very great. A nurse's training course offers a splendid opportunity for young women to make for themselves a lifetime profession. Salaries are good, there are interesting opportunities for specialization, and most important of all, nursing offers an opportunity to be of real service to one's fellow man. Women between the ages of 17 and 35 who are high school graduates or who have college credits may apply for entrance in any of the nearly 1,300 accredited schools of nursing. You may obtain full information at your nearest hospital, nursing school, or from the vocational guidance counselor in your local high school. We urge all you young women listening to consider again making nursing your life work. The Great Gildersleeve is played by Harold Perry. It is written by John Whedon and Sam Moore. The music is by Jack Meakin. Included in the cast are Walter Tetley as Leroy, Louise Erickson as Marjorie, and Lillian Randolph as Bertie. Eve Goodwin is Frances Robinson, Judge Hooker is Earl Ross, and Richard LeGrand plays Mr. Peavy.
Just a second, John. Friends, today, January the 15th, is the opening day of the 1947 March of Dimes campaign. The March of Dimes, as you know, supports the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis. I'm sure all of our listeners are going to be helping again this year. Thanks, and good night, everybody.
This is John Lang saying goodnight for the Kraft Foods Company and inviting all of you to listen again next Wednesday for the further adventures of the Great Gildersleeve. Now it's really true. You can make real rich, velvety smooth ice cream in your refrigerator. Just ask your grocer for the Kraft product called Frizz. F-R-I-Z-Z. One package makes 6 generous servings of ice cream and very economically. You simply add water, a little sugar, and freeze according to directions on the package. Add fruit juices or flavoring for variety. Frizz contains plenty of fine cream and milk, made by a process that retains marvelous freshness of flavor. Get Frizz from your food dealer tomorrow. Surprise the family with homemade ice cream tomorrow night. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.